Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we got episode 235 today.
Suburban St. Louis, but not St. Louis.
Really?
Yeah, I just looked it up because I wasn't sure which one we were on. So if you draw a crescent around the city of St. Louis, and it's one of those things, if we're still doing the show in 10 years or whatever it is, there are certain areas, kind of like you down in Mass, where it's two area codes for the same area.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the dice line is 938, but that's not your primary area code, right?
Yeah, well, the dice line is 978. 617 is the big one for Boston. Actually, all of Massachusetts used to be 617, and then at some point in the late 80s, I think it was, they split it, like Boston kept 617, everything around Boston went 978, and then at some point out west, I think, went like 413 or something. So now we have three or four anyway here. So
it's possible once, that we can get some areas twice if we do enough of these shows.
You never know.
But not Vermont. Vermont is one of the rare places in the country. We haven't given, with all the cell phones, we haven't given away all the exchanges yet, so it's still just 802.
In Vermont, you could just dial like 25, right, and get to somebody for crying out loud.
Right? In all seriousness, because, you hokey little thing, when I was a kid, it was 4 digits if you were calling in town. Because where I grew up was 287, and so if you were calling in town, you didn't need to do 287. You could just do 9071, which is my old phone number. Don't call it because that's someone else's, I'm sure. But yeah, I think I was 10 or 11 when they finally put in you had to dial 287 to call in town.
Wow. In the late 90s, okay?
Yes.
All right. In the late 90s, I was working at a trophy shop, and we went on the internet. That's right about the time the internet started growing and all the .coms everywhere. So I got the trophy shop up on the internet. We were taking orders. And I remember that this one person called up. I don't remember where they were. It was in the continental United States. And so we took the order for all the trophies, and I went to take their credit card. And instead of four-digit numbers, because it's 16 numbers,
right,
it was 15.
Oh, American Express.
And I says, no. I says, you're missing a number here. And the guy says, nope, because that's how old this credit card is.
Wow.
It was a 15-digit number. Yep. And I was like, okay. And we ran it, and it went through in the whole bit. I was like, well, okay, that was interesting.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Now, obviously, now he probably doesn't have. But, yeah, however, how long he's had that card. And he kind of chuckled about it. He goes, yeah, I get that all the time. It says, you're missing a number. I says, no, I'm not.
When I was about 9 or 10, I lived above my grandmother. And, again, this is back when you could dial 4 digits for that. And I missed out the number because, you're too young to realize how to use the phone. So someone answers, Graham?
Yeah.
Scared the living crap out of whoever it was that answered because it wasn't a Graham voice that came back to me.
Anyway, it's been a while since we chatted with you guys. It's been a couple of weeks, so we have a few things that we were getting off our chest there. Ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to support the show on Patreon for $2 a month or $5 a month, if you think the show is worth 50 cents and it's $2 a month for you, great. Patreon.com/digitaltodice. Now, here in episode 235, what we thought we would do is do the Canton Convention preview.
Right.
All right. So I'm headed out tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of August. I'm heading out tomorrow, the 22nd, down to Connecticut to hook up with Michael C., another replay gamer, hooray, I think is his YouTube channel. And I'm meeting him in Connecticut, and Friday morning we're going to take the long trip up to Ohio, where I think it's up to over 30 people now that are going to be there.
That's awesome.
At the Professional Football Hall of Fame. And what I like, what's kind of happened here, so the Appa Football Club, Jeff over there at the Appa Football Club has kind of been spearheading this adventure. I think it's their third or fourth year of doing this. And it started off as an Appa football tournament. And somehow along the way, with all the different people going and people bringing different games, including myself, and some people that just want to mingle and not really be tied down with a tournament style.
Yeah.
It's really kind of just turned into a football convention. And I'm excited about that, because if it was just, we're going to go and play Apple football and that's it, okay, that's great. I love Apple football and the whole bit. I'm not big on tournaments, but, whatever. But it's really kind of, Al Wilson's bringing his fast drive football. He has a new mode he wants to show off, and he's going to have a little small tournament with that. And that's such a fast game. You could have a tournament with that game.
Oh, absolutely.
So he's going to be there showing off his game, his new way to play it with two people. There will be people playing APA, but I think he's kind of backed off like the big APA tournament thing, and it just he's like, hey, let's just open this up to anybody that wants to come and hang out and talk football and play football and do this. So I'm excited about that. So because I know I'm bringing 5 football games myself. I'm bringing the season ticket football beta because I don't think many people have seen that. So I'm going to bring that.
Clay's not coming to that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yes, which is too bad. But ST Patrick's going to be there, and he's going to show off some games. He wants to learn how to play APA, so I think hopefully me and Jeff will sit down and show him that.
And he's got matchup college football, too. Yeah, which is similar to season tickets. So. Yeah,
so I want to check out that. I guess there's a breakaway football game that's going to be there, so I want to check out that.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think what else there is. Oh, there's a few things that I want to do. And I guess we can save it for the show. I'll tell you what I'm looking to do there. But we're going to talk about the convention, which is really kind of just turned into a tabletop football convention rather than an APA tournament. So it's going to have APA. It's going to have everything. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to, the ride out there with Michael, and chatting some games all the way out there. If I can get reception in the car, I might do some broadcasting from the car. But I am bringing my laptop and the whole bit, and I'm hoping to set up and go live from the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
All weekend long at different points. Get some people on, get some interviews. So you might see me popping in and popping off. I'm not going to obviously let the thing run for, hours on end. But, we'll jump on as things happen. I'm going to probably get some pre-recorded video and audio as well as the live stuff. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to talk a little bit about the pregame. We're going to pregame here for the Canton Football Convention at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that's what we're going to do here in episode 235. Now,
the great state of Alabama commits 17 votes for the next best football game of all time.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So why don't we only talk a little bit about what we're playing, because we haven't done this in a couple weeks. So why don't you kick things off?
I bought Extra PC Basketball. I don't think I played it yet, but I bought it. He's done some different things to it, and it's the one action PC game where you can actually go fully fictional. If you've never done that before, you can set up the rules however if you want 24-minute quarters and no one ever to foul out or whatever, you can do that.
We had talked about this when you said you got it, hadn't played it yet, because I'm going to get it. And I said, boy, that would be the type of game that I would probably set up the games to be real short games.
Yeah, I kind of like that concept.
So, I don't know if I'd make them 8, 10, 12 minutes, but just play a quick game so you could get through a season or something like that within a fair amount of time, because that's one of the longer games. Dave Little used to play that all the time on Friday nights, and that would be an hour and a half to 2 hour stream for the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now take away 15, 20 minutes for the live stream, and you're still over an hour, around an hour and a half for that. So if I could, set up a shorter game and bang the games out and still have as much fun with the game, just in shorter doses, and play more and play through season, I might try that. I might try to set up either a season or a shorter season, or just make the games real small, real short. So we had talked about that, but I like the idea you're saying. It's fictional, or you can change all the things to whatever you want. So that has some possibilities.
You can be whatever it is that you want, and but I like the idea of like a 12-minute game. Chris Slovic did for NBA 24 high school rules.
Okay.
You had pro teams, but they were playing 8-minute quarters.
Okay.
And so you got scores of 60 to 55 and all that, and that's kind of cool. So I will play around with that after we do whatever we're going to do I'm going to do from streaming from the convention. I'm playing a lot of Strat Basketball. I don't know why I got into that. I know the new version's coming out. You know, it's interesting. You go to the Strat webpage, and there is no mention of any new features in the basketball game or the hockey game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because Celtics won the title last year. It's probably a set I'm going to want to get just because I have a lot of those. So I've been taking around the 85-86 Celtics again. And the first two games they stomped. No, the first game was over New Jersey and they stomped. Then the next night they're in Cleveland and they're up 10 with 6 to go. So I pulled Bird and the rest of the starters and they had to put him back on the floor because Cleveland nearly pulled it off. Then their home opener against Milwaukee and Milwaukee's only dressed 9. So they stomped. And then I'm playing Gardner's Atlanta Hawks.
What is it about the Atlanta Hawks
and the
Celtics?
They have, I don't know what it is. I mean, they match up real well. Dominique Wilkins can do pretty much anything. And at one point in the third quarter, the Hawks got up 10. And you can just kind of guess what the Celtics said to themselves out loud. And they went on a 10-0 run. I'm in the fourth quarter of that one, and it's the Celtics are ahead. So I might pull that one out. But it is truly amazing just how difficult certain teams can be historically. And
the thing is about the Hawks is that's not just with one game. That's with that you're having them with Strat. I had them with what was I playing? Replay basketball. I had it with Marco's game, regular season basketball. The Hawks are just giving the Celtics fits. They really are.
So it happens. It happens. I've played much X and PC football. Again, it's been warm and we've been busy. You know, when it hasn't been warm, we've been busy. What else is new? My 88 Major League Replay is now into September. And the Twins and Royals are battling for the AL West. Oakland is 7 games out. It's possible, but it's not probable at this point. So I might actually get 3 different results in that replay. The Tigers just had a 15-game winning streak snapped. So and they've overtaken the Red Sox. And someone asked me if that was the longest winning streak that I've ever had, and I bet it's close. I don't really keep track of records for that, but 15's a lot in baseball. The Reds are ahead of the Dodgers. The Mets have pretty much won their division, and but to get back to the American League West, it's the Twins who are the defending world champions and the Royals. And so I'm at just before Labor Day weekend. It is Labor Day weekend, but it won't be on Labor Day. And they're playing their last 4 games of the season. Now, normally, if you got 2 teams that you think are going to contend all the way down, they'll get a series in September, or at that point, just so for television and keeping interest because of football and all that. But nope, once these 4 games are done, they're done unless they tie, which makes it really odd to be doing pretty much day by day by day before Labor Day. So played today, the Twins have taken 6 of the 10. So the Royals are up 4-2. Bert Blyleven did not have a good 1988. He's past his sell-by date, but he outpitched Mark Gubicza in Kansas City a couple weeks ago, or last week, and he outpitched Mark Gubicza today. So poor Jeff Montgomery, reliever for the Royals. I forgot how they made the errors, but Montgomery gave up 7 unearned runs in the 8th, including a grand slam by Kirby Puckett. And so what was a 4-2 deficit was a 9-4 win. And the lead, I believe, is 3 or 4. So the Twins, who actually were a better team in 88 than they were in 87, that's the pleasant surprise. I think it's difficult with football because you get close games either way, and you can win a close game or you can lose a close game. But in baseball, to overplay yourself like that, they could still win 100, which they didn't. I think they won 90 in 88. That's a lot. that's a lot, but it can happen, and the proof is all in the numbers and such like that. And they just, one of those things, especially about Action PC, is you just know that you can just see that the team doesn't quit.
Yeah.
And that's fun. Also, I don't know if it's still on sale for $11 on Steam. I'm loving PGA, EA Sports PGA Tour.
Oh, you're like, 90 under par or something like that?
No, you know what? I mean, yeah, you can do that. You can go and play the daily tournaments, and they slow down the meters, and you can go. Actually finished 103rd, I think, in the daily, which is pretty good. So, no, in the career mode, the courses are hard enough that you really, on the regular tour, I mean, I've won a couple, but I'm not beating the field by 10 shots. In fact, I just played Phoenix. That's the crazy 16th hole where 50,000 people are around the par 3 16th green, and it gets all crazy in that. I love that course. I loved it at ASG Golf, and that there's just some really good scoring opportunities on the back nine. So sitting on the 15th tee, which is a par 5 that can be reached in 2, and I'm 4 back with 4 to go. I'm not thinking I'm going to win this. Birdie 15, missed my eagle putt. Still thinking, nope, no chance. I'm just having fun at this point. Birdie the 16th with 50,000 people watching. 17th, the 17th, there is a 330-yard par 4 that you can drive the green. It is probably one of my favorite holes in all of golf. And on that Sunday, I drove the green. I left myself 20 feet for eagle.
Nice.
I make my eagle. Like, oh, well, okay, I'm still a couple back, right? I look, I'm tied for the lead. I've made it all back up. So I go to 18, hit a good tee shot. I mean, it's still a console game. And so, well, if I birdie, I probably win. I nearly jar my second shot on 18, tap in my birdie, and yep, I go 5 under over the last 4 holes to win. But then again, this time I'm playing Riviera, another course I really love, and I'm going to the final round. I'm in second place, but I'm 6 shots out. I'm not winning, and so so there are things that, yes, it's console golf, and yes, it's there, and you're not penalized for using driver too much, but it's not the cakewalk that those games can be, and that to me just makes it real playable.
Nice.
My AI opponent, just hits everything and that. So primarily sports wise, that's what I've been playing.
Oh, nice. Let me see. Over here, it's been tough sledding. Over here.
Yeah.
The wife is doing a lot better, so I will say,
Good.
knock on wood, that we're happy that she's driving the car again, and things seem to be healing up, and she's actually going to cardiac rehab, and they got her on the treadmill and keeping an eye on her and stuff, so they're trying to get her back up to speed there to get her, her energy going and her heart pumping. So we're happy with that, but it was last weekend we took the dog to the emergency room in the middle of the night, and they told us he has cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got 2 dogs. One's got 3 legs, and the other one has cancer. So, so we were devastated, needless to say, devastated. So I hadn't wanted to play anything. It's probably why we haven't podcast, because we've been
we haven't. I mean, you've been
scrambling around with that, and we ended up going to see a cancer dog specialist who was.
I didn't realize they existed.
Who was phenomenal. And at the emergency room, the dog emergency room, the doctor there says, before you do anything, go to one of these appointments. Before, you put the dog down, or
right.
Whatever it is, you got to go talk, because we were up like bawling our eyes out, like we were, and she laid everything on the line, and she was fantastic, and she gave us a couple of options. She goes, here's the options, nothing, and he dies real soon, or you can try this, or you can try that, or you can try spending tons of money to keep him going for as long as we can. And it's like, well. So he says, let's start off with a couple of, the easy ones here. See how he responds. So he got one of the cancer drug shots that they have for dogs. They don't cure it in dogs. They just kind of remiss it for a while, just for a while.
Right.
And I said, well, anything to get him to stop from panting, because I says, I'm just not going to, it's not fair to him. And so they gave him this shot, and he says, let's see how he does in 2 days. And he's like a brand new dog right now. And so I'm taking him on walks again, and he's just seems to be a lot more happy. It seems like the swelling in his lymph nodes, his spleen was so enlarged it was sticking out. That seems to be going down. So we have a follow-up appointment. Actually, I'll be on the road for Ohio when she takes him to the follow-up appointment. But I says if the doctor says everything's good, maybe we'll try another treatment. We're not going to break the bank here by any means, but we might be able to kick it down the road, several months.
And good days are good days.
And that's the thing. So, and that's what the doctor said too. Let's see how he responds. If he's not responding, then we know that's that, But so we were devastated. Of all the things that's been going on this year between, the wife and her surgery and the tree crashing through my fence, and it's just been one mess after another. And somehow after all that mess, I am still getting to Ohio. And I talked about it. I says, dog or no dog, I love this guy, but I says, I got to go to Ohio. So, we already talked about that, but he seems to be responding well, so that I'll be able to drive now with a clean conscience, going out to Ohio. So I haven't played much, but I did pull out a bunch of football games because I'm in a football mood. I did stream a little second season from Play Games there because I wanted to play that again before I went on the road, and I played real basic. I didn't, there's a lot of symbols and stuff that I forgot what they meant, so I decided, let me just play. And I'm not going to worry about the minus signs or the symbols. I'm just going to play and have some fun. And I had some fun. I played a quarter. I think I played a quarter. I don't even remember who I played, but I had a lot of fun with it. It's like, yeah, that's a fun game. I need to get that back on the table a little bit more. I pulled out Solitaire Pro Football, which I'm taking both of those games that I just mentioned to the Hall of Fame. And just kind of reading the directions on that, trying to get back in that, watching some videos on Solitaire Pro. I know I've done some in the past, so sometimes I rewatch my own videos or try to remember how to play it. And I know, Higher Ground Gaming has done some videos as well, so I was watching him. And just kind of, it's like, oh, yeah, that's how, I remember now. I remember this now, and I remember that now. So I'm going to bring that as well. So I was kind of, going over some of these games I haven't played in a while, so I'm not completely cold when I pull it out at the Hall of Fame. And also, I'm still banging away at my Action PC football, the 1979 season, where I'm kind of doing a game of the week.
Right.
And what I've been doing is I've been avoiding some of the better teams because you're going to see all these in the playoffs. You know what I mean? There's no sense playing the top teams because, once in a while, but you're going to see them in the playoffs. So what I've been doing is I've been playing the second and third place teams that are on the bubble. A couple teams that are 6-5, so there's a big difference between 7-5 and 6-6 at this part of the season. Yeah, so I think I'm in week 10 or 11 or something like that. So it's really starting to iron itself out. So I'm I'm 12 weeks in. I'm looking at the records here. Pittsburgh's 11-1 in 79, so they're probably going to the Super Bowl again. But the Rams. Remember the Rams beat the Buccaneers in 79 to go to the Super Bowl.
So they beat Dallas with
on the road.
With a broken leg.
They beat Dallas on the road, and they beat Tampa Bay on the road.
Right.
The Rams are 4-8. They were 2-8. They just won 2 in a row. The Rams are not going to make the playoffs. Dallas is in second place behind Washington. So there's a couple of teams that aren't doing very well. You know what team is doing well in the NFC? It's the New Orleans Saints are 10-2.
Yeah, and that's the year that they wore the bags over their heads. That's how bad they were.
10-2. So they maybe they're in a bad division, or maybe they caught fire. But the Saints are 10-2 right now.
Now the NFC West was never a good division until Montana came through. And then...
So anyway, there's been some craziness happening in 79 in my replay, and of course. The games I've been streaming have just been absolutely terrible games. I played the who did I play? I played the Jets. Yeah, I don't remember who I played the Jets. Was it maybe it was New Orleans or something like that? And so the Jets were kind of like 500, so they needed to really win to stay in the wild card race. And they lost something like 27-0. It was your typical Jets. And then I played a Seattle-Cleveland game. Again, teams on the bubble. Seattle was in second place, so they needed to win to keep up. And Cleveland, they're trailing Pittsburgh, so they won't make it. But they're still fighting for a wild card spot. And Seattle croaked them. I think it was like 24-0 till Cleveland got a couple of late touchdowns to make it close. But I've been just streaming some real bad games. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I've been running into these bad games, but I know you run into some baseball games that just get out of hand. But yeah, I've been running into some bad games on my stream. I just start laughing. Just okay. What can you do? Team can't do anything. 3 interceptions for this quarterback here. What can you do? So,
that's the thing with football is that at some point that the game is over. Baseball teams can come back. They can kind of chip. Everyone gets 3 outs, and then they
anything with a clock is you have an idea how many points you can score in that time. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And then you're like, okay, I'm down 17-0, and my quarterback has a completion rating percentage of 39. Good luck.
Yeah.
And you got to throw the football the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think it was the Cleveland quarterback, whoever that was.
It was Brian Sipe, wasn't it?
Might have been Sipe. I think he had like 3 or 4 picks. It was just bad. There was one quarterback. Oh, it was the Jets. The Jets quarterback had 3 interceptions. It was
Richard Todd.
I took him on and put in Matt Robinson for the final drive because they were down by 3 scores. So he throws the ball. 17-yard completion to Wesley Walker, and Wesley Walker fumbles the ball. It's just like that's just kind of how it went for the Jets, the poor Jets. So I've been having some dogs of games. I think I'm picking out some good games to try to have a good competitive game and fighting for playoffs, and these games have been terrible, but it's still fun. Action PC Football 2024. I'm playing the 1979 season. I'm having so much fun with that season. Kind of hoping to squeeze in one more streaming game before I get on the road tomorrow, but maybe I'll get one late tonight. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, enjoying the heck out of that. So I just been playing, like I say, a ton of football as I get ready to go and get footballed out. I'm looking forward to the exhibits at the Hall of Fame. I've never been to any kind of Hall of Fame in my life, really.
You got a good speaker for the Saturday morning thing, which is the president of the Pro Football Research Association.
Oh, nice.
Blank on the name, but he's the guest speaker. And so, yeah, at the Hall of Fame, I bet there's a nice library. I mean, the baseball one is best known, also has a library that, that you would die for. But yeah, I'm sure. And it's a newer building, relatively so. It opened in 1963.
Okay.
So, but yeah. And it's, only been about a month since they enshrined the class. So there should be some people there into the bus.
I was telling some people last night at hockey, and I was like, says, I'm off. Don't call me. Don't do nothing. I'm shutting everything down for a week. I'm going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Should be a good time. So we got talking about the Football Hall of Fame and the Hockey Hall of Fame. And one guy goes, you ever been to the Basketball Hall of Fame? That's right here in Massachusetts. And someone goes, the Basketball Hall of Fame. He goes, isn't that like in a food court or something?
I've only been to Springfield a couple times, but I've never been to the Hall of Fame.
I only went to Springfield once. I went to a hockey game, and we got lost coming out of the rink, and I was starting to be scared for my life trying to get out of there. It's like, I just need to find a highway. I need to get out of Springfield and get on a highway because the highway's right there at the rink, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to leave the rink and get back on the highway. I just couldn't figure it out. I don't think we had GPS back then, and I was like, I can't figure it out. So I just took the first thing that looked like a highway because I was not comfortable in Springfield. Anyway. Yeah. So, but I thought it was funny. The Basketball Hall of Fame.
Ended up in Windsor Locks, and you caught a flight back to Boston, right?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I'm not good with directions. That's why I'm glad Mike's driving out there. My very first Bruins game I ever drove into, I was in high school. We drove into the Boston Garden, and I ended up leaving the Boston Garden and going south. I ended up on Cape Cod. Just like, why am I heading to Cape Cod? I'm north of Boston.
And that thing touches the interstate, right? I mean, it touches 93.
Yeah, I didn't know where the heck I was going. I've done that so many times in my life, just going the wrong way. But anyway, all righty. So let's get on here. Let's talk the Canton Convention preview here in episode 235, shall we?
Yep.
All righty.
I'm enjoying the leaf blower behind me, by the way.
Oh, you get the leaf blower out. Oh, yeah, it's that time of year. Well, it's still not leaf season yet, but it will be shortly.
But they're blowing leaves or whatever. Great.
Oh, nice, yeah. Well, what can you do?
It's true. Nothing.
So anyway, I don't think. I mean, I've been to video game conventions, and I've gone as a media, and I've reported on them and interviewed people in the whole bit and checked out new games, and been invited to go behind the scenes a couple of times. So it's been kind of neat as a media guy. But I've never been to a tabletop one or something that something like this where I'm going to meet a bunch of people that I've only talked to online. You know, that type of thing. So I don't know what to expect. I know because I know we talked earlier about it was going to be an APA football tournament, and that it still will be at some capacity an APA football tournament for those who want to do that. But I think this has really kind of turned into a meet and greet, and
pretty much
a meet and greet with some people that you'd never met, and it's also going to be a chance to go and walk around the Hall of Fame and enjoy some of that, and check out some new games, because there's a lot of people bringing some games, not just APA, that we're going to sit down and play and talk about. And
it's said it is some of his 3D printed stuff, and
there's going to be a whole bunch of things there beyond the APA tournament, which Jeff's even saying now. He goes, well, maybe we don't do a big tournament, maybe we just wing this. And in that way, there sometimes it's good to be structured, and other times it's good to kind of go with the flow. And I've organized so many events in my life too that I've said, something, we were supposed to do X, Y, and Z, but it's kind of turning into this, and people are enjoying it. Let's just go with the flow, And so
I've never done a tournament. I did do a face-to-face and draft league in college, which would be the only similar type experience, and you get to know the people that you're playing against, which is one thing, because face-to-face is completely different. And you and I have done some face-to-face stuff, in the Patreon and on our respective channels and that. And that is completely different experience from sitting there with the stream or by yourself and rolling the dice or hitting the go button or what have you. And a couple stories, nothing to do with football, although the first time I played Strat football was someone had the old style cards, and they had the select teams from 1980. So Cleveland and Atlanta, and I think it was Atlanta had 2,000-yard rushers. So that was fun to be doing, a joint interest from, we're talking here 1999, 1990, 1991. So, from when we're 8, 9, 10 years old and having that common interest of watching the games on TV and then pulling them out and doing that was fun. But the draft leagues, which again, face-to-face and doing that, there are moments that I think you're going to experience this weekend that will stick with you forever. And I'll tell you a couple quick stories. One is Andy Van Slyke, who I've never met before, just playing a draft league, a random game. Now, for those of you who've listened to all 235 episodes of the podcast, Andy Van Slyke was the pinch hitter in my all-star game this year that tied the ball game with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth.
And then he had to play catcher?
Then he had to go catch.
Okay.
And so, and in my head, from the story I'm about to tell, that meant more to me than if it was anyone else. Because I'm playing, we did the draft league, and I think we did a 60-game season or whatever. We only did the one season. Top 4 teams made the playoffs, and I'm fighting for a playoff spot. So it's late in the season, and we're doing the 90 cards, so it must have been 91. And Van Slyke comes up in the 8th inning, and I'm going to lose the game. And he homers.
Yeah.
We're tied.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, and and it's a good friend of mine that I'm playing against, and so there's the good-natured back and forth with that. And Van Slyke comes up in extra innings, and he wins the game. And so Andy Van Slyke, who was just a face in the crowd from those baseball cards we had from the late 80s, I mean, that came to life, and it wasn't just because I played it out by myself. It was because it was something that other people saw. Some of it obviously comes through in the YouTube stuff. It's different when you're playing by yourself and having something crazy happen, and we talk about it. It's another to be doing it, kind of like Van Slyke, when other people are watching. It's like, can you believe this? Can you believe what we just did? And so I think you're going to have in football one of those experiences. You're not going to know who it is. You're not going to know who it's against. But someone is going to do something crazy in one of those games that you're going to remember forever. I mean, if I remember this from almost 35 years ago.
Right.
Just a nondescript game of Strat Baseball. I made the finals the one year we did the hockey draft league. And Mario Lemieux and Brett Hull, the year he scored 80 gazillion goals on the same line. And then losing that final in 7 games. Now, if you were to do a hockey con or a baseball con, that's much more conducive to a tournament because you can get in 7-8 games in the day. I'm not sure you could do that in football. I'm not sure how that would work. But, yeah, I think for me, I think for you, there's going to be a moment there where someone breaks the return, even if it's against you, or that you're going to go, wow, I don't necessarily remember that player, but I will remember that player the rest of it. Kind of like the way that you described, talk about conventions, when you got the demo for one of the mogul games. Didn't you pick that up at Comic-Con or something like that?
Yeah, PAX East in Boston.
Right. So there's going to be a moment there, and you're just not going to see it coming. Whereas something incredible is there, you're going to have that shared experience, whether you're playing a game or just watching or taping or whatever, and you're going, huh. And you also will be connected to that person that has that moment because it's something that you share together. And I think that is the endearing thing for face-to-face leagues and when you hear about conventions and all that, it isn't necessarily who won and who lost, but about the time that you have together and the shared experience. And if you win, there's some bragging rights there as well. But I can't believe that it was Steve Grogan who threw for 497 yards against me. You'll remember it forever. Mm-hmm. You're going to go into this weekend, and it doesn't matter, what game it is, whether you win or lose, but there's going to be that moment. It was like, oh, wow. And you weren't alone.
Yeah.
The opposite of that is when we were doing those draft leagues in college was someone had a boyfriend who was a huge hockey fan, but he played all of his games solo. There wasn't anyone I ever really got to know. And I turned to the soon-to-be ex-girlfriend that he had at the time and go, I can't imagine ever playing these games solo. Well, lo and behold, here we are all these years later. That's what we do. And so I think that the main draw is the fact that you are sharing this with people who are like-minded and want these games to succeed.
Yeah.
And so it's not my team went 4-1 or I got the groovy prizes. Oh, my God, I can't believe that this happened.
Yeah.
And I got to share it.
Yep. Now, so a couple things. There's a lot of people, a lot of names there I recognize. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to recognize all the faces. So if anybody is going and happens to hear this podcast, don't be offended if I don't recognize everybody by face. Obviously, I'll know Tebow and Al Wilson and Jeff, those guys there. There's going to be a lot of people, though, that I just... said, hey, I'll see you in Canton, and I've never met. And so it might take me a couple times of recognizing faces. So, I don't want just if you introduce yourself to me and I want to meet everybody, I want to meet as many people as possible. It might take me a bit to put faces to names because if there's 30 people going and I only know 3 of them by face, there's 27 people there that I'm going to have to try to remember.
But you'll know those people forever.
Yeah,
after this.
So that's
that's the thing.
So that's the first thing I wanted to say. That if you're going to be out there, don't be upset if I ask you your name a couple times because there's going to be a lot of people that I know by name but not by face. So I'm gonna unless we have name tags like hi, my name is hopefully I won't forget anybody's name, but I'm going to meet so many people that I'm going to be like, I'm going to be afraid that I'm going to get somebody's name wrong. So just give me a little bit of slack on that. And the second thing is, especially when it comes to APA, I would like to play APA with some people. I kind of like I'll play some head to head, because that's how the game's designed. And who knows? Maybe I would like it, playing head to head the real way. But I really...
It's a little different, and I think people want you to succeid. I think that...
Yeah, but I'm kind of hoping if somebody wants to sit down and play some APA with me, that we can kind of play it the way that I've been playing it solo, because that's what I'm familiar with, and that's what I have so much fun that way, playing it the solo way. But we'll see. We'll see who sits down and who's willing to, play it the Dave way and see who's, and maybe someone will say, hey, why don't you try this, see if you like it? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to try some new things, but I also know what works for me and what doesn't work for me.
Right.
And I don't want to get too competitive with anything and just, because, I remember, when I was playing Action PC a few years ago, football, I stopped playing that because I was 3 and out, and I wasn't having any fun. And then I played defense and I get kicked around on defense. So I stopped playing the game for a while because I was just losing all the time. It's just not fun to not be able to get anything done in a game. It's just like this stinks. So that's why I don't like to play against other people, because I get frustrated really quick if I get down early and I'm getting smoked and, they all know how to play the game better than me and I'm just a casual player. It's just not, it's not fun for me. And, I remember even playing the EA Sports Hockey on the Xbox or the PlayStation or whatever it was we were playing on, and we'd go up against these kids online and they would destroy us. And it's not fun. It just wasn't fun. I mean, I'm a basic player and I could pass and shoot a little bit, and they're putting the puck between their legs and going around me, and I couldn't even check them. I tried to check them and I would miss them. So it's like I was just completely outclassed, and it was not a stitch of fun. I stopped playing it. And so I don't want to get to a point where I stop playing a game because it's not
I don't
fun.
think that's what this weekend's going to be about.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean, I'm just saying I'm a little hesitant to go head to head, because if I get destroyed because I don't know how to play the game, the right way head to head, I can play solo and have a blast with it. But head to head's very different, and yet it's a very different way of thinking, and it's so I don't know. I know the people there are going to be good about it. I do. I don't think anybody's going to be there saying, I beat Dave 76-0. This is great. I don't think anybody's going to be there like that. But I get leery because I just don't like playing against another human. It's been a long time since I've done that.
Don't pull up the $76 and expect to win.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is I am going to play the $76 by myself, even if I play a little quarter of it. Because I did manage to get the Pro Football Helper working on the laptop.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I got that working. So I could either play it, with the helper, which I probably will if I'm playing by myself, because I'm terrible at the math in that game. If I try punting and I got to punt over midfield, I just get it wrong all the time. I don't know why, but I do. But I brought some notebooks so we could keep it manually too if we had to. I'm bringing my mats. I did a video on what I'm bringing,
nice.
So I'm bringing my mat. So if we have to, we can, put the marker on the board too as well. So, but I am kind of hoping to play against a couple of people. I don't know if I'll be playing full games of APA because that would take a couple of hours. But I'd be willing to play a quarter or a half or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I know you're there for what? It's Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, we're supposed to go in there Saturday morning around 9, and that's when we're going to have the speaker right at 9, and then after that we'll get into the games. I imagine I'm going to set up the laptop and have some people come over and sit down and talk to them about what they're bringing here, and and so I'll have a little media table set up for me, and then I'll take some breaks from time to time, and obviously I want to hit the exhibits. I want to do that, and then I'll come back in from time to time and set up my games on the table and try to play my games and things like that. So again, I have no idea what to expect. This is my very first convention. It's my very first one of these, the tabletop, with people with different games. And the only thing that's going to be different is I'm going to at least know by name a lot of people here.
Right.
And I imagine that probably a lot of people there are going to recognize my name, too, from the show and from the YouTube channel. So
you're who? Who are you?
Right.
But no, I think it'll be easier because it's all like-minded people. We've had some of the, we've had Greg on, and we've had, we did the whole show on APA football, and they just were warm and inviting. And there are some that, can whip out a 250 game season in a matter of weeks. And that's but again, we've had Greg on, and even if hopefully he's there.
I haven't heard his name on the list of people going yet. It'd be nice if he did, but my big thing is I've heard, like I say, we've talked to Jeff and Greg, and it was a fantastic show that we did with them.
Wonderful.
And I'm hearing good things about the group that's going. I'm hearing good things about PlayCon, which I'll be going next year and speaking at if all goes well. That's the plan.
Yes.
So I'm hearing really good things about the people there. So That's the other thing. I'm interested to see how this goes. How a convention goes.
I think you're going to have a very good time. Speaking of play, to change the subject just for a minute, because we saw this on Facebook, and we haven't done a show since we've seen this on Facebook. Keith Avalone and someone else flew out.
I think it was Travis.
Okay, flew out to suburban Chicago and went out to see Marco Scola.
Was that awesome?
Specifically. Marco has had a successful kidney transplant, so all good things for that. But for them to go out and do that, because Marco was one of Play's biggest supporters, and to bring the convention to him, I think that's the type of community that this is all about. And the smile on Marco's face in that picture. And
that was great. That was great.
Genuine enjoying it. And I think to bring it back to what you're doing and for what going to play next year, people want other people to play and enjoy these games.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get yourself into a league where it can get competitive and all that, and knowing that that's the case. But I've had to moderate arguments over penny bingo too.
Right. Yeah.
And
those old ladies get competitive.
You think you're joking about that?
No, they do,
but you're not.
Yeah.
So I think it's that and I really wish that some of the gaming stores would have local groups come in to do that. And so it's a little bit different if you're sitting across the table from someone else and you've got your team, doesn't matter the sport, and they've got their team. And over the course of like 6 months or whatever, you play everyone 3 or 4 times in football or whatever. And just a sense of camaraderie. I mean, there are leagues, and again, this is my only experience with this, that have gone on for decades.
Yeah.
Face-to-face leagues, we're not talking just years, we're talking decades. And it's, bring a 6-pack, bring some lunch, how's the wife, go to the room, roll your series or whatever. And so I just think it's going to be that type of atmospheric vibe, as opposed to online. Nothing wrong with an online draft league or anything like that, but sitting across face to face from someone.
There's something about being in the company of other people, and especially like-minded people. And this being such a niche, this really is. This is a real niche, and
especially football.
Yeah, you're with some hardcore people here that are excited about the community, excited about the games that we play. And that's what I'm really looking forward to is just kind of, this is my first venture out into the community here in real life. And I'm kind of hoping that it's everything I've heard from, where people are very welcome and open and, open arms and the whole bit. So I don't know what, I'd like to say I don't know what to expect, but I kind of do know what to expect. And I'm kind of hoping it's everything I'm hearing.
I'm sure it will be. I mean, in a strict tournament, there's structure and rules. And again, you can game, every game can be gamed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is much more of, we're going to play, and there might be some, people who want to do a serious tournament type deal. Yeah. But this is kind of more like a like-minded carnival with not a lot of booze and a lot of good food.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard Tebow might be giving a talk on game organization. Did you hear that? How to organize your games?
He'd be the expert. He'd be the expert on that.
It was. I love his game. It's like a tornado went through, and he's got Apple with Strat, and this over here, and this season. It's hilarious.
He's released milk cartons, hasn't he, to release Where Have I Lost this season?
Maybe, yeah. Hey, speaking of Appa, they released 1980 Appa football, right? The email went out today that 1985 just got released. So it's like, holy cow, Appa is really kind of cranking out the back seasons there.
It'd be nice to have everything with the same set of boards.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
That's what they're going for. And that's why they've been backfilling these. So they did 80, they did 70, and they done 85 all within the last month or two. So that's pretty good that they're cranking them out.
Good for them.
Yeah. So here's what here's kind of my wish list of things that I'm kind of hoping to get done. So we're talking about the preview here, the game preview. Here's what I'm really hoping to accomplish out there. I'm hoping to get some really good interviews with people, whether it's live or whether it's on Memorex. I'm hoping to call in on StreamYard if we have a pretty good internet connection. I heard that we should have a good Wi-Fi connection there. excuse me, on the laptop to get you on and have some people come down and sit with me and you.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that.
So we can both talk to people that are there. I really want to talk to Jeff about how he organizes this and just talk about the event.
He's got two. He's got the event in Cooperstown too. I mean, they played at the Baseball Hall of Fame earlier this summer.
Yep. So I want to talk to him about his part in organizing this and the whole bit. I would like to talk to people who are bringing games that have developed games there. Al Wilson's going to be there, and St. Patrick, and anybody else that's bringing a game that they've developed or had a hand in. I'd like to sit and talk to them about what's going on with their games. So those are some of the other things I'd like to do. I would like to talk to just about everybody. If I could get everybody that's there to come and sit in front of the camera, even for a few minutes, I think that would be great, just to kind of get everybody there, kind of a recap of everything. I know not everybody wants to be on camera, but I think it'd be fun to get as many people as possible, even just for a couple of minutes, to jump in, jump out,
Right.
As you see sometimes at these events. So, hey, well, thanks for coming by. Now we're going to bring in, this guy here. So that's another thing I'd like to do. Along with going through the Hall of Fame exhibits and taking some photos. That's going to be obviously a must as well. A couple of things that I want to do as far as game playing. As I mentioned, I want to play by myself or maybe with somebody. I don't know, but I want to play at least a quarter or two of the 76 Buccaneers. I mean, I'm going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I imagine there's going to be something there on the 76 Bucks. I can't imagine that they have nothing on them there.
Well, Leroy Selman's enshrined.
Yeah, so we're gonna see him.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping that I'll see that and a few other things. But I want to play Apple Football 76 Bucks. That's just I do want that. I do.
Don't enter them in a tournament.
Yeah. And I believe the person that I swapped with to get 76 is going to be there. So I want to talk to him too, because that was a big deal, is to get that 76 season.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's just, for me, it's a big deal. That was one of the first seasons I started following football, and so to play the Bucks. So I definitely want to play Apple Football 76 Bucks. I'm kind of hoping to sit down with either Jeff or somebody else and take out a couple of the 79 teams that I'm bringing and go over the old charts as well as the conversion chart to use the new chart with the older cards. So 79
boards. They're boards.
I bought that from John. He actually let me borrow it, and then I bought it from him. So these are the old cards, which I'm not. I like the new cards way better, even with the baseball and the hockey. I just like the new cards. The newer game I think works better for me. Yep. But I do have an old set, so I'd like to talk to them about, hey, is this how I'm playing this right? Or what do you think of this? Or how does this work? Or, what's the best way for somebody like me to play with the old cards? So I want to sit down with 79 with Jeff or somebody else and just kind of get an idea. If I want to play 79, what's the best way to do it here? So I want to do that. I would like to play some head-to-head, maybe not a full app a game or a full anything game, but I would like to play against some people and just have some fun with it. I want to be very low key. Don't even know if we'll finish the game, but I just to sit across from somebody and just chat and play and the whole bit.
It is in that type of environment, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, and so that's another thing on the list that I want to do. I'd like to show some people the season ticket football. It's not my game, but a lot of the stuff that I've suggested and you've suggested to Clay, he's put in, and so it kind of feels like I've kind of contributed quite a bit to this game, and it's nice to see. Anytime that we work on a beta with somebody and our suggestions are taken seriously and even implemented in the game, it makes you feel like, that you've contributed to that. So I'm going to show that off. What else was there? And I just kind of, I want to mingle. I want to learn new games. Anybody that has a new game there, like we talked about, I want to, maybe interview them. If not, I at least want to sit in front of the game and say, hey, show me this. What is the deal with this? What's going on with this? I don't know if Keith's going to bring his cold snap, but I would like to see some Canadian football there of some kind. If he brings it, like, hey, Keith, show me this Canadian football thing here, So
didn't he get sent a Flutie season?
That was 49 football.
Right, which is, he's got a Canadian version of that too.
Yeah, that's Grant's game.
Right.
Yeah, so I have, for Grant's football game, I have a Canadian season with Flutie, yeah. Was it 83, I think it was, something like that?
No, in the 90s.
Okay. Whatever it was, whatever season
He
it
was
is.
still at BC in '83. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I watched that live. I watched that pass on Thanksgiving live, by the way. I know exactly where I was when that happened. So whatever
I had
it
his
was.
sister drop a chair on her foot. I let out such a yelp it scared her. She was
Really?
4, and she dropped a chair on her foot when Flutie hit Phelan on the bottom of that pile.
I remember that game because I was watching. I know where I was, and the guy I was talking to says, whoever has the ball last is going to win this.
Oh, it's one of the greatest football games I've ever seen.
Was it Kozar and Flutie?
Bertie Kosar and
they just
Doug
were
Flutie.
going back and forth, scoring touchdowns. It's like whoever has the ball last, but like you didn't think that was going to end like that. But that was sweet, and it was on the road, which made it even sweeter, And the look on Bernie's face at the end was good. Sorry, it just was. So I'm kind of hoping to get some Canadian football in if it's brought there. Because that's one game I do want to pick up as Cold Snap at some point. I'm going to pick up the Cold Snap from Play and check that out. But yeah, I do have the 49 Quick Dex football, which is Grant's game, and I do have the season for 93. I believe it is. I'll have to double check. But I told Grant, I said, look, I'm not going to play your football or your hockey game right now because I need to kind of focus on Canton right now. And then, the whole dog with the Canton thing really kind of threw things out of whack for me. But what I'm going to do with Grant is when I get back from Canton at some point, Grant's going to sit down with me. And we might even go live. I said, well, how about we go live? He's like, okay, maybe we'll do that. And we're going to walk through his hockey game and probably walk through his football game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I played the football game and streamed that a few times, but to have the game developer on in the room with you, making sure everything's correct, I think that's the way to go.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to do that with more people. Get them on if they get a tabletop game. Let me play it, and then you're there to help answer the questions, whether it's my questions or someone in the audience. And boy, that should be the way to do it. Really, I mean, that way because I'm learning it. And I'm stumbling in my way through the game, and then you can kind of guide me, as a developer. So expect to see that when we get back there, and I know we'll get some Canadian football going at some point too. But I definitely want to try out his hockey game and the whole bit, so that should be kind of fun. So looking forward to that. And the other thing I want to do while I'm there, Ron, is I want to talk to Jeff and Michael in Connecticut. We're going to have a long ride out there. We want to talk about setting up something on the East Coast, because plays in Connecticut, Colorado. We got the Ohio thing here. We have Georgia with APA, and I know that there's all kinds of things all around. But when I look, there's the closest thing to me is New York and New Jersey. So I would like to find something up here. Now, it doesn't have to be in my backyard, so to speak, but within, 2 or 3 hours driving distance. So I don't know if that would be Massachusetts or Connecticut or something like that. But I would like to set up an East Coast tabletop meetup and make that a yearly thing. So I'm kind of hoping, when I talk to Jeff and anybody else that's ever done anything like this, how would I go about doing that? What would be the first steps in setting that up? As far as finding a place to do this, what goes into that, how would we set it up? I mean, again, just because, I've organized a lot of events in my life, but nothing quite like this. So I'm kind of hoping when I go there and I see what happens with my own eyes and I see how this plays out in the whole bit, and I talk to people who have set it up, what I can expect. And, maybe if I can find a couple of people, in this area here on the East Coast, I would say, hey, I'll help you set it up too and get the word out in the whole bit. And we try to pick a time, we pick a place, and we pick a name. And we set it up, and we don't really have a theme for it. It's not going to be a baseball or hockey thing. It's just going to be a meetup, an East Coast meetup. So I don't know if it's going to be East Coast tabletop meetup. I don't know if we can come up with a really cool acronym for something like that. But it's just going to be, something here on the East Coast where, people that can't get out to Colorado or Ohio or Georgia can still meet up once in a while and have a good time. Because if this goes as well as I'm hoping it does, I'm going to want to do more of these.
Oh, I think so.
And, the closer it is to home, the easier it is for me to get to these things. So if I could have a hand in an East Coast meetup of some sort, I absolutely would. And that's something that was suggested to us a few months ago. And then when we had Keith on the show to kick off year 6. We were talking to him about that, and he was so. I can talk to him too about it too, so I can talk to Keith and Jeff about, hey, what are some of the things I should look for? Maybe start to set up the, whatever, blah blah blah. So so I'm kind of hoping to get that done too. So all these kind of things that I have on my checklist to do, and I should be able to check them all off if I remember.
I would hope so.
If I remember, I could get there and just the whole thing just goes out the window because it's just such a good time.
It's gonna fly.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely gonna fly. So.
But anyway, so that's a little bit there about the Canton convention preview that I'll be heading out to tomorrow, and we'll be getting going Saturday and Sunday. If all goes well, we'll get some live video from there. If not, then I will take some video and upload it after the fact, whether it's afterwards at night at the hotel if I get good Wi-Fi or internet, or if it's going to be when I come home. But I'm looking forward to kind of half reporting, half playing, and get a feel how these things go is what I really want to do. I want to see how these things go and just take it a step at a time with that. So anyway, any more final thoughts on that?
No, I think. What player that's in the Hall of Fame are you most looking forward to actually seeing their bust? They're all in the same area there, so everyone is there, and Brady will be there in future years, but he's not there yet because he's not eligible yet. So I'm not being a smart aleck.
I know you're not, and I'm not being a smart aleck when I say this.
Okay,
take a guess.
No, it's a legitimate question.
No, take a guess. Take a guess who. And this is I'm being completely serious.
John Hannah?
No. O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson.
I do. I want to see it. He was such a good runner, and I did a book report on him as a kid. And I know Al Red Sox a fan of his, and just the juice, 32, was so good. Yeah, and I know he ran into his troubles later on in life, if you will. But I'd like to see the OJ one. And again, anything Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Patriots I want to see too. I mean, there's so many there, so many. But I saw that you could put your hand on a football and see how your hand compared to some quarterbacks' hands, and you could put on the wireless helmet to hear the radio, and there's all kinds of neat things you can do
all
there.
Sorts of interactive stuff. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. And we're going to have 2 days there, so it's not a huge place. It's not like a mall or anything like that. So, you should be able to see it all one day. But in case I want to go back the second day, for what I hear, you can slip in and out of the exhibits in the hall that we rented out. So you can kind of go back and forth at will. So if I can do that, kind of leave my stuff set up and go out and look around and come back and, and I don't have to worry about packing up everything every time I leave to the exhibit, then that'll be the best of both worlds.
Not Morton Anderson, huh?
Is he in there?
I believe he is.
How about Mosley?
No.
Really?
I think Ray Guy, Morton Anderson, and Lou Groza. Vinatieri hasn't been retired long enough yet, has he? He might be in there.
He's only 3 or 4 years retired, I think.
So
he kicked a long time.
Yeah, he did. But Morton Anderson's there.
Yeah. So well, I'm going to take a bunch of photos and we'll get them up. Maybe I'll put them on the Digital Today's page, a little, album, some of the things I saw there and people I saw there and the whole bit. But, so I just want to catalog this event, and it should be a fun time. So, anyway, so that is that. All righty, so we get to the 3 stars of the week.
Absolutely.
All righty. All right. Episode 235, our 3rd star is Sinistrality.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for being a longtime supporter of the Digital Today's podcast.
That sounds like a store name you'd find in a mall in the 80s.
He's been posting in the Discord recently too, quite a bit. So he's in there. Number 2 star, Alan from New Jersey.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much, Alan.
Yeah.
For everything you've done for the show and for the YouTube channel. And number 1 star here in episode 235, James Marshall.
Yes. We've both been interviewed by him.
Yep. Yours just come out. Your interview just come out with him.
Yeah, I was in the most recent issue.
Yeah, he does. What's the Sports
Gaming Journal.
Sports Gaming Journal. Okay, yeah.
And it's one of those that had run for a while in the 90s and they kind of petered out and has kind of come back in the last couple of years. And so good for him. So it's appropriate since my favorite number is 4 that I was in issue 4. And you were in issue 1, weren't you?
Might have been. Yeah, it was one of his returning issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
He started back up. Yeah, it's good to see that. It's going to be fun to talk to S.D. Patrick about his magazine.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so many people can't wait to talk to face-to-face. Because when you're face-to-face, you can talk forever. When you're on the phone or when you're on the StreamYard here, at some point.
Right.
So, and just kind of hanging out in the hotel room after the night, too. I'm going to go back and I don't know if they have a hot tub or not, but I'm going to have to sit in the hot tub at the pool, and then I'll come back and hang out with the guys.
You'll find some water to go sit in.
I will. I don't care if it's a puddle outside. It will be. I will find a puddle. But anyway, so that is that. Thank you to all of our stars of the week and to all the people who support us on Patreon and YouTube. Sure. Thank you so much for helping us keep this thing going. And let's wrap up show 235, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you've been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast, episode 235, the Canton Convention preview. We talked about some of the things I'm hoping to see and do out there at the Professional Football Hall of Fame this weekend. It was supposed to be an APA football tournament, but it's just kind of turning into a nice tabletop meet and greet for football fans. So I'm looking forward to that. Ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. Well, that wraps it up here, Ron.
For episode 235, yeah.
Yep. I might squeeze out one more Action PC football game tonight, but then tomorrow I am on the road, so that'll be that. I might even broadcast from the road if I get a good cell signal. You never know.
There you go. So enjoy the Sirius XM road trip channel on your way out, and you and Ozzy can take the crazy train together.
I wonder if Mike's going to let me put on Yacht Rock Radio.
I have a sneaking suspicion that most of our generation quietly listens to Yacht Rock Radio, a virtual cornucopia of everyone's 4th or 5th favorite song.
I should take a notebook and just keep track of how many times they play the same song over and over and over on that trip.
How many times can you listen to Steely Dan in a 2-hour period?
Yeah. Who's the other guy that's on there all the time?
Now, I like Boss Gags, but I get so sick of Steely Dan.
Yeah, at some point you do. What was the other guy? Steve?
Oh, Steve Miller?
No, not Steve Miller. Oh, man, I can't think of his name.
Christopher Cross?
Christopher Cross, yeah. I mean, he's got like a whole bunch of songs. They have.
Oh, yes, he does.
And they're all good classic ones, but after 15 times in a day, it's...
Yeah. Yeah.
I was listening to Devil Woman on the way home today. Which I don't...
Cliff Richard.
Yeah, Cliff Richard, yeah. The Devil Woman, she gonna get you. I like that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything by Christopher Cross is good. He had... What's his big one there?
Sailing.
Yeah, Sailing.
The reason why they call it Yacht Rock Radio is because of that song.
Yep. He's got a handful of good ones too. But I like the Devil Woman and Ride Like the Wind.
Yes, that's a good one.
There's a metal band from Europe that does a fantastic cover of Ride Like the Wind.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a band called Jorn, Jorn. And that's how I discovered them. They popped up on my feed and on iTunes. It's like, hey, check out this cover of Ride Like the Wind. And it turns out Jorn sounds just like Ronnie James Dio. And he does a lot of Dio songs. He sounds just like him. So picture of Ronnie James Dio doing Ride Like the Wind. It's pretty cool. Anyway. All right. Well, there's a little bit of extra talk for you here. A little Yacht Rock Radio.
Congratulations.
All right. And we'll talk to everyone later.
Bye-bye.